Georgetown native Dennis King knows he has a flair for making people laugh. It is a big part of the storytelling talent he has inherited from his father Lionel and his two uncles Jack and Donald. Mr. King has recently released his Gift of Story in book form. The Day They Shot Ravine is a compilation of years of growing up in a small town and being privy to conversations around the kitchen table.
I really just hope it brings some joy to some people, and it's meant to be a great celebration of the people in the town and in the area that mean a lot to me and that have meant a lot to me over the years. A good story doesn't always have to be belly laugh funny. Like a good story has to kind of touch you in some way, and sometimes it can make you mad, sometimes it can make you sad, but you know, it's all about stirring up an emotion. Georgetown had developed a community welfare league to help construct a new rink. This would be in the 1950s in Georgetown. And essentially it was Montague did it a few years earlier, so Georgetown thought they would follow in the footsteps of Montague and steal this idea that seemed to work very well in Montague, and they got together local people and merchants and town officials, and they formed this community welfare league. And the purpose of it, of course, was to figure out the design and how they were going to pay for the construction of the new rink. And now, Georgetown is a little bit different than Montague in that there are probably a little bit more prosperous and innovative merchants in Montague than there were in Georgetown at that time. And Montague enjoyed a little bit more of a reputation to work together as opposed to what they did here in Georgetown. So they go to a gentleman by the name of Percy Boudreau. Percy Boudreau is a local merchant. He owns a meat shop. And they asked him to be the chair of the founding meetings of the Community Welfare League. So everyone calls him Perce. Perce Boudreau is a well thought of guy in the town. You know, he's a successful merchant and known to have a bit of a sharp wit and a sharp tongue and not afraid to use either. So brings together, he's a great organizer, he brings together people, they gather at the town hall, there's a great big crowd of people that are there, and the meeting is going on very well. They're following the agenda. They're about 35 or 40 minutes into the meeting, and a fellow named Joe Johnson saunters into the meeting a little bit late. Joe Johnson's a local carpenter and a tremendously well thought of fellow in the town, but known to be stubborn and sometimes hard to work with, and would do anything for you but wants to do it Joe's way. So Joe comes into the meeting and immediately disrupts everything and wants a complete rehash of what's happened from the meeting. So Perce allows this to happen, and they rehash the 45 minutes, and it's another 40 minutes before they get the meeting back on track. They fast forward to the next meeting, same thing happens, they're following along the agenda, and Joe Johnson comes in about the 45-minute mark and once again wants to rehash everything, and the meeting goes sideways, and another 40 minutes or so before Perce can get back to the agenda. So as what always happens in Georgetown, these meetings take on a routine. So every meeting they start, Joe comes in late and they rehash, and it's frustrating Perce to just tremendous, frustration. But he doesn't want to offend Joe. Joe's a carpenter and he's going to be pivotal in the construction, and we need Joe and he's going to be supportive. But he wants to find a way to get the meetings back on track. So next meeting, Joe walks in 45 minutes late. Perce gets up, grabs a corn broom that's sitting beside, just leaning against the wall, and he hands it to Waldron Lavers, who's the secretary of the meeting. He says, "Waldron, you can put this broom away now." So Waldron looks at him quite funny and just does what he's told and starts to go to the broom closet. And being of the curious mind, Joe says, "What were you doing with the broom, Perce?" And Perce says, very cuttingly, "That's what we were tripping over, Joe, until you got here." I really do believe and hope that everyone just enjoys it for what it is, and that is just it's as somebody, as I said before, a love letter to my father, and in a bigger scope, a love letter to Georgetown.